vehicle that we're going to be working on today happens to be a 2005 Chrysler Pacifica. Customer's complaint is that the check engine light's coming on and the transmission's not shifting properly. Going into second gear only, which is a limp-in feature that you can drive it into the repair shop and have it fixed, or pull off the side of the road for a tow truck. Once I've got the vehicle, I've hooked up to the vehicle with the scanner, and the codes I was getting was a p0720, which is actually the output speed sensor error. Another code that actually is going to play a big part in this that you're going to see shortly is p2503. That is a system, the charging system voltage low. Once I started up, I noticed that the speedometer would jump slightly, and then I was getting some speedometer readings while I was sitting still. I want to show you a couple of quick things to check. It can save you some time, because if you approach the transmission problem and start diagnosing the output speed sensor, you're basically going to be wasting your time. The common sense approach on this is not going to work. I just happened to talk to the engineers and they gave me something to look at, and sure enough, that's exactly what it was. So we're going to move inside and I'm going to show you what the speedometer is doing so you know what the symptoms are. And then once we're done with that, we're going to come outside under the hood and I'm going to show you what you can check to determine if the problem is going to be something simple or if it is an actual transmission problem. So with that, let's move inside. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and start the vehicle. I'm going to show you the issue with the speedometer. You may have noticed when I first cranked it up, it actually jumped to about 5 miles an hour. Once you put it in gear, now mind you, I've got my foot on the brake. The vehicle's not moving. I put it into reverse. All of a sudden we jumped up to 25 miles an hour. And you can feel the transmission trying to shift. I guess basically it's going into second gear thinking it's moving going down the road. Neutral is the same thing. I've got it in neutral right now, so you can verify that it is still reading 20, right around 20 right now. Drive, same thing. She'll start jumping up and moving, as well as auto stick. Now when you go back to park, she drops back down. So if the speedometer is jumping the way that we're describing, what I want you to try to do, sounds kind of odd, but before you spend time diagnosing transmission related items and that code for that speed sensor, I want you to gain access to the alternator, because you may have had a charging system code as well. Once we get access to this alternator, we're going to go ahead and unplug the generator field connector. Then we're going to go back inside, and then we're going to go back through the shifter again to see if it's completely repaired. If there's no longer any jumping of the speedometer and it's no longer registering speed, we know we got a bad alternator. So let's go ahead and pull the upper trim cover off. Luckily on this vehicle, the alternator is right up top. So then we can just go ahead and reach in here. Got to remove and disconnect the lock. Go ahead and move in a little bit closer to show you how to do that. To get the lock off the connector set, we'll remove, there's a red locking tab that you've got to slide downward. Now you're going to squeeze the actual connector and pull up. You can see the lock right there. It's usually in a pushed in position. We've got it pushed out. Now that I've got it disconnected, I'm going to go back inside and check the shifter. This vehicle, that's exactly what it was. It was an issue with the alternator. Normally I probably wouldn't have picked up on it, but luckily I had talked to the engineers at Chrysler, because I had checked everything else transmission related. Was pretty much scratching my head. That's when they said, they had actually called me and said, Dave, go ahead and disconnect the connector. And that's exactly what happened. So the repair for this procedure, for that transcode, is actually going to be replacing the alternator. So once again, I appreciate you watching my videos. Always stay tuned for more.